Charwich Koniinge Letters by Charwich and Koniinge. Letters sent between Charwich and Koniinge about their search for Azura's star. Book 4. 8 Suns Dawn, 3E 412, Amyglyth in Somerset Isle. My good friend, Lord Gymin, you must forgive me for not meeting you at the palace personally, but I've been unavoidably, tragically detained. I've left the front gate and door unlocked, and if you're reading this, you must have made it at least as far as the antechamber to the east drawing-room. Perhaps you've already wandered the estate and seen some of its delights before coming to this chamber. The 7 fountains of marble and porphyry, the reflecting pool, the various groves, the colonnades and quincunx. I don't think you would have already gone to the second-floor suites and the west wing, as you would have had to pass this room first, and picked up this letter. But believe me, they're beautifully appointed with magnificent balustrades, winding staircases, intimate salons, and bedchambers worthy of your affluence. The price of this property is exorbitant, certainly, but for a man like you who seeks only the best, this is the villa you must have. As you undoubtedly noticed as you arrived through the gates, there are several smaller buildings ideally suited to be guard stations. I know you are concerned with security. I am an intensely greedy man, and there is nothing I would have liked more than to meet you here today, show you the grounds, fawn on you obsequiously, and collect a fat percentage of the cost of the sale when you bought this marvelous palace, as I'm sure you would have. My dilemma that caused my inexcusable absence began shortly after I arrived here, early, to make certain the villa was well cleaned for your inspection. A man named Koniinge crept up behind me and gripped me by the throat, clamping his left hand over my mouth and nose, and throttling me with his right hand, crushing the soft spot on my throat just below the thyroidal cartilage. He effectively strangled me in a few quick but very painful minutes. I am currently buried in a pile of leaves in the North Statuary parterre, close to the exceptional sculptural representation of the Transformation of Trinimac. It should not be too long before I am discovered. Someone at my bank will surely notice my absence in due time. Koniinge might have buried me deeper, but he wanted to be ready for the arrival of his old partner, Charwich. Perhaps part of you thinks it best to stop reading now, Lord Gymin. You are looking around the antechamber and seeing nothing but doors. The large one you took to come in from the garden is locked now behind you, and without a better knowledge of the layout of the estate, I could not recommend you attempt to flee down a corridor that might easily come to a dead end. No, but better to keep reading and see where this is going. Koniinge, it seems, was in a partnership with his friend Charwich to try recover Azura's star. They understood it to be in the possession of someone named Hadwaf Neithwyr, a man who conjured up the Deadric Prince Azura herself to acquire it. As Neithwyr originally hailed from High Rock, Charwich went there to look for him, while his partner searched Morrowind. As Neithwyr originally hailed from High Rock, Charwich went there to look for him, while his partner searched Morrowind. They planned to communicate their findings by letters sent through couriers. Charwich's first letter stated that he had found information that Neithwyr had a mysterious patron named Baliasir, a fact he had learned at the cemetery with a gravestone of Neithwyr's sister Peryra and a lycanthropic caretaker. Koniinge replied back that he could find nothing about Baliasir, but believed that Neithwyr had returned to High Rock with Peryra after getting the star. Charwich's last letter was written on his deathbed, having sustained mortal wounds from his battle with Baliasir, who it seemed had been a mighty Deadra lord. Koniinge grieved for his friend and travelled the span of the empire to Wayrest to pay his call of condolences on Lady Morling, the woman at whose house Charwich had been staying. After making some inquiries, Koniinge learned that her ladyship had left the city quite suddenly. She had been entertaining a guest named Charwich, and it was understood that he had died, though no one ever saw the body. Certainly no healers had been sent to her house on the 13th of last seed of last year, and no one in Wayrest, just like no one in Tel Arun, had ever heard of Baliasir. Poor Koniinge was suddenly unsure of everything. He retraced his late partner's path through Boriana and Grimtry Gardens, but found that the Neithwyr family crypt was elsewhere in a small town in the barony of Dwinnen. There was indeed a lycanthropic caretaker, fortunately in human form at the time. When questioned, using the technique of strangulation, release, he told Koniinge the story he had told Charwich many months before. Hadwaf and Peryra Neithwyr had returned to Dwinnen, intent on settling old business. As the star requires potent spirits for power, they thought they would begin small by capturing the spirit of the werewolf they knew of in the family garden. Sadly for them, their grasp exceeded their reach. When the poor caretaker resumed his human form one morning, he found himself lying next to the shredded, bloody bodies of the Neithwyr siblings. Distressed and fearful, he brought the corpses and all their possessions down into the crypt. They were still there when Charwich came, and so too was Azura's star. Koniinge now saw things clearly. The letters he had received from Charwich were lies, intended to keep him away. Undoubtedly, with the assistance of Lady Morling, his new partner, he had concocted stories, including one of his own demise, to trick Koniinge into abandoning the quest for the star. It was clearly a sad statement on the nature of friendship, and one that needed immediate correction. It took the better part of 6 months for Koniinge to find his old partner. Charwich and Lady Morling had used the power of the star to make themselves very wealthy and powerful. They assumed a number of different identities in their travels through High Rock and Skyrim, and then down to Valenwood and the Somerset Isles. Along the way, of course, the star itself disappeared, as great Deadric artifacts always do. The couple still had much wealth, but their love sadly fell on troubled times. When they reached Alinor, they parted ways. One must assume that during their months together, Charwich must have told Lady Morling about Koniinge. It's pleasant to think of the loving couple laughing over the stories they were telling him about the mythical and dangerous Baliasir. Charwich must not have given his former beloved a very accurate physical description, however, because when Lady Morling, then under the identity of Countess Ziliana, met Koniinge, she had no idea who he was. It came as quite a surprise to her when he began strangling her and requesting information about her former paramour. Before she died, she told Koniinge what Charwich's new name and title was, and where he was looking for a new palace. She even told him about me. Given all the twists and bends the last month's chase took him on, it was not difficult to find which palace Charwich was looking to buy, and what time his appointment was to view it. Then he had merely to arrive early, dispose of me, and wait. There our story must sadly end. I look forward to seeing you soon. Yours, Deadric Prince, former estate banker. P.S. Charwich, turn around now. Or don't. Your choice. Your friend Koniinge.